name is Aidan Laslin. I'm currently a serviceman in the International Legion under Gore. I've been in Ukraine since 2018 and I first served with the 36th Marine Brigade in Mykolaiv. I served for roughly 4 years, and then when the full-scale invasion happened I found myself in Mariupol. Eventually, after a month and a half, myself and the rest of the guys that I was serving with in Mariupol, we were forced to surrender to the Russians. And then we spent the next 5 months in captivity. Luckily for me, I was exchanged probably 2 years ago this month on September 22nd. Since then, I've done a lot of volunteer work, fundraising to help. And just about probably 5 months ago, I rejoined the military and joined Gore in the International Legion. And now I'm trying to do as much as I can publicly and also with the fundraising to do what I can for Ukraine. So today we're here for another prisoner exchange, and for me personally it's quite emotional because I know what the guys are going to be coming from that we'll be meeting, and there's a part of me as well that feels the emotion from when I was first released, because I remember what the emotion was that was running through my mind. Now we're just waiting for the go-ahead for the two sides to go towards each other and send each other's prisoners across. I'm looking forward to seeing these guys because even if it's a small exchange, it's still people that are going to be going home to their family. When I was exchanged, we were sent to Saudi Arabia on a plane from Russia. And even though we were on the plane and in the air, it didn't fully kick in, the realization that I was free until we landed. And I was taken into one of the rooms where our government representatives were waiting for us. And I think when I sat down, it was the first moment where I was able to actually cry, because for the past 5 months I was never able to cry, even after I was sentenced to death. And it was the one emotion that the Russians took from me, because I was just in fear the entire time I was there. I think my first thoughts were just being able to express my feelings of what I've been holding back for so long. I think a lot of the guys, those that are coming from long-term captivity, they will be in shock for quite a long while, because they've just come from an environment where they're beaten and treated like dogs to an environment when they're now free. They can choose to smoke a cigarette or they can choose not to smoke a cigarette. It's going to be quite a stressful moment for those that are being released, especially with being able to eat normal food and basically do what they want without being in fear of being beaten. I'd say for being a foreigner in Russian captivity, there isn't too much difference from what I've seen, and from my other friends who are also foreigners in captivity. Everyone pretty much gets treated all the same. I think the difference becomes apparent when there's something they can exploit from it, compared to myself, for example. Because I had a large social media following, the Russians saw that as an opportunity to exploit it for propaganda. One of the first mistakes that they did was they completely beat me for hours, and then the next day they put me on camera to the world. So I think after that they realized they had to try and show to the world that they're not barbarians, even though they've just shown that they are, compared to my friends who didn't have a large social media following, my Ukrainian friends and my other foreigner friends. They don't care if you're Ukrainian or a foreigner, you will get beaten to however they can use you. I think the best advice I can say to the guys is to get the mental health support that they need, especially after a traumatic event such as that over a long, prolonged period of time. Take everything slow. Everything's going to be a shock for your system. I know myself, it took me 2 months. I was still in shock when I was back home 2 months later. And I think the most important thing is don't be afraid about getting mental psychological help. You need it, especially after what they've just gone through.